All right, listeners, welcome back to another deep dive with me, and I have an expert here with me, and we are going to be talking about calisthenics for triceps growth and strength.
That's right. Yeah.
So this deep dive is really tailored to you, the learner who's looking to really understand how to effectively train their triceps using just their body weight.
Yeah. And a lot of people have that misconception that you need weights in order to, build muscle and gain strength.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are plenty of examples of, huge guys out there who have built, amazing physiques using just their body weight. Guys like Dejan Stipke, Lazar Novovich, there's Solo Nero, Lee Wade Turner, Vadim Olandek.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to add a caveat there.
Sure.
A lot of those guys do incorporate weights
Right.
into their training as well, but their foundation is calisthenics.
Right.
So we're going to be taking a deep dive into an article called 18 Ejercicios para Triceps plus Rutinas en Casa. And we're going to be unpacking, some of the insights in this article and some of the, practical exercises that they mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
And basically our mission with this deep dive is to, give you that actionable knowledge, to give you, some of those aha moments to maybe inspire you to go out there and try some of these techniques on your own.
For sure. So we're going to break this down into a couple of different sections.
Yeah.
The first one, we're going to be taking a look at some basic calisthenics exercises for triceps.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be moving into some advanced calisthenics exercises.
Okay.
And then we're going to look at some so-called isolated calisthenics exercises. And I say so-called because truly isolating a muscle while doing just body weight is pretty difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
But these are going to be exercises that really focus on the triceps along with the core.
Okay, I like it.
So yeah.
All right, so why don't we start with those basic calisthenics exercises for the triceps?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so the article starts off with, the standard push-up, right?
Right.
Everyone knows how to do a push-up, or they think they do.
Yeah.
But it's a really great exercise.
Absolutely.
Primarily it's for your chest, but it's also excellent for your triceps as well.
Right. Yeah.
And they mentioned a couple of, really key variations that you can use to really kind of focus in on those triceps.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing here is that just by changing the placement of your hands during a push-up, you can really shift the emphasis of the muscle that you're working.
Exactly.
So, for example, if you bring your hands close together, you can do something called a diamond push-up.
Yes.
And that's going to really put a lot of emphasis on your triceps.
Yeah, and I like that variation because it's easier on the wrists for people.
Right.
So if you have, some mobility issues in the wrists, you can get away with doing those a lot easier than you can, doing, wide grip push-ups or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, another one that you mentioned is the one-arm push-up, which is a more advanced variation, but again, really requires a lot of triceps activation to be able to control the movement and go up and down.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to another exercise, dips.
Dips.
Yeah, dips.
Yeah, those are a great one.
Yeah, these are really a fundamental calisthenics exercise for, the upper body. And I do want to add a caveat here that if you don't have healthy shoulders,
Right.
dips might not be the best choice for you. So you definitely want to, agree that your shoulders are healthy. And you could talk to a doctor or physical therapist about that. But if you have healthy shoulders, dips are an excellent exercise.
They are. And one of the things that the article mentions is that there's a specific technique that you want to use to really emphasize the triceps.
Oh, really? Okay.
So the key is to keep your body as vertical as possible as you go down and up.
Okay.
So if you lean forward, you're going to be putting a lot more emphasis on your chest.
I see, yeah.
But if you want to really target your triceps, you want to keep your body nice and upright.
Okay, interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, and the article mentions a few different variations for dips as well.
Okay.
The first one is straight bar dips. So these are dips that you can do on a pull-up bar.
Okay.
So if you don't have access to parallel bars, this is a good option.
Yeah, for sure.
Or if you're training for muscle-ups, for example, these are a good exercise to do as well.
All right, so straight bar dips, what else do they have?
Then there are bench dips.
Yeah.
So these are a good option for beginners.
Okay.
Or they can be a good secondary exercise to do in supersets, for example.
Yeah.
And one thing you can do to make bench dips more challenging is to elevate your feet.
Oh, okay, so you could put your feet up on, a bench or something like that.
Exactly, yeah, a box or a bench.
Interesting. Okay.
And then there's also something called Korean dips.
Korean dips. I've never heard of these before.
Yeah, these are a more advanced variation of bench dips.
Okay.
And basically, with Korean dips, you're actually lifting your entire body weight off of the bench.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're quite challenging.
Okay. So you're essentially doing like a dip, but you're supporting yourself on the bench.
Yeah, you're kind of pushing yourself up and away from the bench.
Okay. That sounds super challenging.
They are, yeah, they're popular in freestyle calisthenics.
Yep.
And they're also part of the Hefesto movement.
Oh, okay. The Hefesto movement. Okay. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that pretty much covers, kind of the basic calisthenics exercises.
Yeah.
For triceps, why don't we move on to, some of the more advanced stuff?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the article talks about handstand push-ups, which,
Yeah, those are a good one.
yeah, a lot of people think of this as being like a shoulder exercise, which it is.
Right.
But it's also a really good exercise for your triceps.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're using your triceps to press yourself up from that handstand position.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's a really good triceps exercise as well.
And obviously, this is a very advanced move, right?
It is, yeah. It takes a lot of practice to get there.
So the article kind of recommends starting, against a wall.
Right, yeah. That's a good way to start.
So you can kind of get used to, being upside down and getting the feeling of that exercise.
And building up the strength and the balance that you need.
Yeah, exactly. And then eventually work your way up to, freestanding.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, look at somebody like Dominic Sky.
Yes, he's amazing.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he's a master of handstand push-ups.
He is. Yeah, he makes them look so easy.
Yeah, and it's a good way to kind of, visualize what's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
With calisthenics, I mean, this guy's just shredded.
He is, yeah, he's incredibly strong.
And it's all body weight.
Yeah, all body weight.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so if you're looking for some inspiration, definitely check him out.
Yeah, definitely Dominic's guy. All right. So what else do we have in terms of advanced exercises?
So the next one is the L-sit and the V-sit.
The L-sit and the V-sit.
Yeah, and so a lot of people think of these as being, core exercises.
Yeah, abdominal exercises.
Exactly, yeah.
Like exercise.
But they actually really work your triceps as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in order to hold that L-sit position or the V-sit position,
Yeah.
You're really engaging your tricep to keep your arms straight.
I see.
So yeah, it's definitely a triceps exercise as well.
Interesting.
Now, one thing that the article does point out is that in order for the L-sit or the V-sit to really target the triceps, you need to do them on a straight bar or parallel bars or on the floor.
Okay.
So if you're hanging from a pull-up bar, you're not really going to be working your triceps as much.
I see.
It's really that straight arm support position
Yeah.
that's going to really target the triceps.
I got it. Okay, so parallel bars are on the floor.
Yeah.
For those exercises.
Exactly. And the article actually mentions Egg and Sven from Calisthenics movement. They like to do L-sits and then dip.
Oh, wow.
So they'll hold that L-sit position on the parallel bars, and then they'll do a dip.
Yeah, that sounds like a good, like a superset or something like that.
Yeah, a good way to combine exercises.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so L-sit, V-sit, and then the last one that they have in this section is impossible dips.
Impossible dips.
Impossible dips. Yeah, I mean, the name says it all.
It does, yeah.
So these are really a show-off move.
Yeah, they're very advanced, yeah.
Yeah, very advanced.
They're popular in freestyle competitions.
Yeah.
And the article mentions that oftentimes they'll be followed by a full planche.
Oh, wow. So they'll do an impossible dip and then transition right into a full plant.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
It's amazing, yeah.
And then they also mentioned a tutorial that you can check out from Yerai from NG Street Workout.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so if you're interested in learning how to do impossible dips, go check out that tutorial.
Awesome.
All right, so that pretty much covers those advanced calisthenics exercises for triceps. So now let's move on to the so-called isolated exercises for tricep.
The air quotes.
The air quotes, yeah.
Exactly.
Because again, like we said before, it's hard to really isolate.
It is, yeah.
A muscle in calisthenics, but these exercises will focus, more on the triceps.
Right.
But they do involve the core as well.
Right. Yeah. You're going to be using your core to stabilize your body.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So the first one they have is tricep extension on the floor.
Okay.
So basically what you're doing is you're starting in a plank position,
Okay.
and then you're using your tricep to lift and lower your body
Gotcha.
while maintaining a straight body line.
Yeah, so you're really just using your triceps to move your body up and down.
Exactly. And the next one they have is tricep extension on a bar.
On a bar. Okay.
Yeah. And they kind of compare this to like body weight skull crushers.
Right.
Have you ever done those?
I have.
Yeah, they're brutal.
They are.
So yeah, basically you're just, you're using a low bar
Right.
and you're extending your triceps to lift and lower your body.
Gotcha.
And the reason they recommend a low bar is because it gives you a greater range of motion.
Right. Yeah. Makes it a little bit more challenger.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then the last one that they have in this section is tricep extension on rings.
On rings. Okay.
Yeah. And this one is interesting because, rings are so versatile.
They are. Yeah.
And the author of this article actually says that this is the best variation
Oh, really?
of tricep extension.
Okay.
And the reasons for that is because you can adjust the rings and the angle to make the exercise easier or harder.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can start off with your knees on the ground,
Okay.
and then as you get stronger, you can progress to your toes.
Okay.
And then eventually make it even elevate your feet.
Gotcha.
So it's a really great way to progress
Yeah, absolutely.
with that exercise.
Yeah, the rings are just so adaptable,
Yeah, they are.
that you can really customize the difficulty level
Exactly, yeah.
to your own strength.
All right, so we've covered a lot of exercises here.
Yeah.
We've got the basic exercises, the advanced exercises, and then these, so-called isolated exercises.
Right.
But what happens when, all these exercises become too easy?
Right.
How do we continue to progress, to continue to see, growth and strength gains in our triceps?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And the article has a section that specifically addresses that.
Okay.
And they give us 3 main ways to increase the intensity of our training.
Okay. I like it.
So the first one is to train with rings.
Okay.
So we already talked about how, the rings add that element of instability,
Yeah.
which makes the exercises more challenging.
Exactly. Yeah. It forces your muscles to work harder
Right.
to stabilize, your body.
And that leads to more muscle growth.
Exactly. Yeah. And they also mentioned that, rings are very portable.
Yeah, you can take them anywhere.
Yeah, you can hang them from a tree branch. You can hang them, in your house. A lot of people will hang them from like a pull-up bar in their house or, from a beam in their garage or something like that. So, you can really train anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's a really convenient way to get a great workout.
Yeah, and you can get really strong
Yeah, absolutely.
using rings.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number 1, train with rings.
Number 1, train with rings.
What's number 2?
So number 2 is to train with added weight.
Oh, okay, so this is kind of like, the traditional weightlifting approach, right?
Exactly,
Of
yeah.
progressive overload.
Progressive overload.
But, instead of using barbells and dumbbells,
Right.
we're using our body weight.
We're using your body weight, yeah, and we're adding weight to that.
Exactly.
So the article mentions, using weight vests
Yes.
or weight belts.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great way to increase the resistance of those exercises.
Exactly. And I've actually found that, when you do train with extra weight
Right?
and then you take the weight away, you feel so much lighter and more powerful.
Yeah, you do.
It's kind of like, it's like taking off a weighted vest
Yeah.
and, running around.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, wow.
It's like you can fly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So weighted vests, weighted belts, and what's the third one?
So the third one is to use resistance bands.
Resistance bands. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, they're a great tool.
Yeah. And a lot of people use them for mobility work and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can also use them for, strength training as well.
Yeah, you can use them to increase the resistance of exercises.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for example, you could use a resistance band to make push-ups more challenging.
Yeah, or dips or something like that.
Yeah, dips. Yeah, exactly. You can also use resistance bands to assist with exercises.
Yeah, that's right.
So for example, if you're working on, a muscle up,
Yeah.
you could use a resistance band to help you get over the bar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a really versatile tool.
Yeah, very versatile. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some training recommendations.
Okay, yeah.
How often should we be training our triceps using these exercises?
Right. So the article recommends training your triceps 2 to 3 times per week for strength and size.
Okay.
So if you're training twice a week, they recommend including 4 to 6 different exercises
Right.
in each session.
I got it. Okay, so 4 to 6 exercises per session, 2 to 3 times per week.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should be, keeping in mind in terms of, our training for the week?
Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure that you're doing some pulling exercises as well.
Yeah, so we're working kind of the antagonistic muscle groups.
Exactly. Yeah, so you want to work your back as well.
Yeah, biceps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like that.
And also make sure that you're training your legs at least once a week.
Yes.
You don't want to neglect your legs.
Don't skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day.
Exactly. All right,
Yeah,
so we've covered a lot of ground here today.
we have. Yeah.
We've gone over, kind of the basics of calisthenics for triceps.
Right.
We've gone over some, more advanced
Huh.
exercises, and we've even touched on, some so-called isolated exercises.
Yeah,
And we've also talked about how to progress with our training.
absolutely.
So I think the main takeaway here is that, calisthenics is a very powerful and effective way to build, triceps strength and size using just your body weight.
It is, yeah.
Um, and there are a lot of different variations of exercises that you can do
Right.
to keep your training interesting and challenging.
Yeah, and to target the triceps from different
Yes,
angles.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
And I think it's important to remember that, your body responds to the stimulus,
Right.
not the tool. Right. So whether you're using weights or you're using your body weight,
Yeah,
if you're applying the right stimulus,
right.
you're going to see results.
Absolutely.
And I think, a lot of people think that, you have to use weights to, get big and strong, but that's just not true.
It's not true at all. Yeah,
You can get amazing results using just your body weight.
absolutely.
So yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you, the learner, and, I'm curious to know what you think.
Yeah.
Are you going to start incorporating some of these body weight exercises into your training?
Yeah. What are you going to try?
Yeah, exactly. And, what kind of results do you think you're going to get?
Yeah, and how are you going to progress your training as you get stronger?
Yeah, exactly. Those are some things to think about.
Yeah.
And, I encourage you to, continue to explore this topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are a lot of great resources out there.
Yeah.
We mentioned some of the athletes in this episode.
Yeah, go check out their YouTube channels.
Yeah, exactly. Go check out their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Maybe you're interested in ring training.
Yeah,
There are a lot of great resources out there on that as well.
absolutely.
So, yeah, just continue to learn, continue to grow, and see what you can achieve.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me on another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.